Good evening everyone, I hope you are well. So I am on Facebook at the moment and I'm going to upload this to Instagram. So wherever you're watching it, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it on catch up, just say hey, let me know you are on. I was thinking, are people going to be logging in this evening on Facebook? I'm not sure. I feel like the whole of England at the moment is celebrating and just gone football crazy this evening, and rightly so. I've just managed to compose myself before I thought I would jump on my live. So with that, oh, there we go, perfect. I was just checking it is on. So with that, I thought I'll jump on and then most people, I'm sure, will catch up. So my live this evening, as always, Tuesday evening. Last Tuesday was a little bit earlier because of the football. And then, of course, this evening, I am bang on time because the football was early, which is fab. I wanted to jump on tonight because I wanted to talk about running. So first of all, I'm going to pre-warn you all that you are going to be... what's the word I'm looking for? Marathon training spam is going to kick in again because my marathon training has started again now. So you may or may not know, I was going to do the Manchester Marathon in April last year. We went into March, April? I can't remember now. We went into lockdown 3 weeks before Manchester Marathon, and I've been training solid for at least 8 months before the marathon. I missed it by 3 weeks because of lockdown. It then got moved to October 2020, so I carried on, I maintained and carried on training throughout, and then obviously it got cancelled again in October, and then it was moved to this October, so October the 10th. I've just written the date down. So we go again. So this is it'll be my 4th Manchester Marathon. I've done 2 live and 1 virtual, so technically my 3rd actual Manchester Marathon. But my 9th marathon in total. So training starts again. I'm going to spam you all with the post because you know I always say I feel accountable. Hey Gazala. I feel accountable when I'm posting it on here, but also lots of people do message and say, like, I love that you post, it inspires me to get out. Lots of people have said they've started running on the back of my posts. So even if it helps 1, 2, 3 people, then I am going to continue to post about running. So I wanted to jump on because I wanted to share some advice, some tips. Now I know I did a live probably a couple of months ago now on running and shared loads of running tips. So if you want me to tag you in that, let me know, comment below and I'll find it and I'll tag you in it. Again, it's on Facebook and Instagram, so I can find it quite easily. Tag you in and you can have a little watch of that. But this is more specific to those people that have been messaging me, and 2 people have messaged me today as well, which is funny. And I said, oh, I'm doing a live as well this evening, saying that are panicking because they've got the runs coming up, they've got the events coming up, and they are either not started running yet, they're feeling the pressure, because what happens is when it's like 4 months to go, you get the emails coming through from the running organising. So I got the 4 month to go email from Manchester Marathon. People who were doing London are the week before Manchester, so they've already had that. There's lots of people doing half marathons, there's lots of people doing 5Ks, 10Ks, lots of events all coming up, and they get that email and then they get that panic that kicks in. So I thought I would just share some little tips, and I've wrote some stuff down because I love to talk and I go off on a tangent when it comes to running. And it is a little bit different at the moment because ordinarily I'd be saying get to park run, get with some groups, different clubs, and that is all still a little bit up in the air at the moment because park run isn't on, lots of club runners are not running together at the moment, but hopefully that will change. Hopefully there is only a few weeks left before, especially for those that do like park run, and I do think that is an amazing run to be doing if you are whether you are learning to run, whether you're pushing for a 5k 10k marathon. Park run are amazing. So if you have no idea what park run is, have a look on the website park run and see where your local park runs are, get registered, get your barcode, and then be in the know for when that gets started. So like I say, some things like that I can't recommend until they do kick in, but when they do kick in and they all do get started, I will be posting on here. But first thing that you need to be thinking, and this goes out to everybody that has messaged me recently, like, how do you do it? Like, I've booked on the half, I have no idea, or I've booked on a 5k, I have no idea, 10k. First thing I think you need to do, hey, everybody looking in and saying hey now, is think about your motivation. Why is it that you entered that run in the first place, or that event? Or lots of people enter to walk, it might not necessarily be that you want to run an event, it's totally what motivates you. So what was it that made you press that button to register and more than likely pay to get into the event? Is it to raise money for charity? Is it a goal for yourself? Is it to just be able to say you've achieved something? Because I was one of the people that I wanted to do a 5k, but I'd never do a 10k. Then I did a 10k, but I'd never do a half marathon. Then I did a half marathon, but I'd never do a marathon. And it's just a knock-on effect. So if that is you, I'm telling you now, you will probably go down the same path as I did. And then who knows, 9 marathons later, you'll probably be jumping on a Facebook Live. So what motivates you? What is it that's made you do that event? And have that, especially if it's for charity or for a personal reason, you know, always be thinking about that. Have that like in the pit of your stomach that is going to keep that motivation, and believe in yourself as well. Because so many people give up before they've even started. And I just think, you know, I spoke about this weeks and weeks ago on one of my lives where I had an awful first run back after having Sky. I think I did like 1.8 mile or something. I remember saying it on my live. I did a really short run. I felt awful. I couldn't breathe. Honestly, I thought that was it. I'm never running. I don't know how I ran before having Skylar. I don't know how I'm ever going to run again. And I thought, no, believe in yourself. You can do this. You're just going to take the time. It's going to take the motivation, the energy, the dedication. So you've got to believe in yourself. Believe you can do it, and you can do it. If you can, buddy up with people. You know, if you've got people local, if you've got people that you can run with, just give them a shout. If you genuinely have got nobody to run with, or you just feel like you don't know who runs, pop it on your Facebook, pop it on your social media and say, does anybody know of any running groups near me, beginners running groups near me, anybody that wants to run near me? Just ask, because the likelihood is there'll probably be lots of people all thinking the same as you. Even if you say anybody want to start going for a walk to run, whatever it may be. And as you know, lots of clubs are picking back up, and beginners clubs and PTs are starting running clubs, I will post them on here. And if you know of any, please comment on here and tag them in here, because obviously we want to get as many people grouped together as possible, you know, with different groups in different areas, and get everybody moving. So buddy up if you can. I say this all the time about kit. People message me like, what trainers shall I run in and what kit shall I run in? Everybody's different. Everybody is completely different. It'd be like me saying, what colour hair shall I have this week? Or, you know, how shall I cut my hair this week? It is totally different. Everybody is different. So what I would recommend, and I'll tag them in here after this live, because the lads at Up and Running near me are amazing. They will, when it comes to trainers, they will get you on the treadmill, they'll do your gait analysis, and they will help you massively and direct you in the way that you need to be with regards to the right footwear. So the trainer that I run in won't be suitable for so many other people. It depends on the way you land, the way you run, the way your foot, is it neutral, does it pronate? There's loads of jargon behind it. So if you message me and ask me about the trainers, I will tell you to go there, because, you know, if I tell you to run in the trainers I run in, they might be completely inappropriate for you. So have a think about your gear, because one of the things that people do when they start training for any event now, and this will be most people who are starting now ready for the October time events, they will buy a crappy pair of trainers and do a couple of runs, end up with shin splints, knees will be hurting, and they'll quit and say running's not for them. And it's not running's not for them, it's that the blinking trainers are not right for them. And it's as simple as that. It's about getting the footwear right. So, and you'll know I go through trainers really quickly, because I'm really, really on point when it says the trainers can only have 400 miles running them, or 500 miles in them, or whatever it may be. I make sure I change my trainers at the appropriate times. So the guys at the sports shop, and there's lots of different sports shops, I'm just going to share the one that I use. They are fab with that. So getting your footwear right. A few people have asked about the gym, the leggings, and this is women only, like leggings that are running. I'll tag V-Gym Wear in here as well, because they are by far the best leggings I've ever run in. They don't fall down, they don't roll down, they're not baggy, they just, women will just understand what I mean. So they are, for me, the ones that people always ask me about, so I recommend them. So I'll tag Leah and V-Gym Wear in, and you can have a little nosy on her website. You've got to have a plan. You've got to have a plan and stick to the plan. And for me, the marathon plan, I've got my marathon plan, I've got my, I know exactly what I need to do over the course of the next just under 15 weeks now. I know what I need to do every single day. I know how many rest days I need a week. I know if I'm doing a long run, a short run, what that short run's going to be, long run's going to be, the pace I'm going to be running at, because this attaches itself to the goal for my marathon. I know if I'm going to be doing a day of speed work or intervals or tempo training, and I'm not blinding you with jargon here. This is just this is my plan. So have a plan. If it's that you've got a 5k event, have you downloaded the Couch to 5k app? Because if not, you're missing a trick, because that is a key app. Same for 10k, there's a Couch to 10k app. If you feel a little bit lost and you're doing a half or a full and need some help and you want a training plan, I've got loads of training plans, that I can send you depending on what time you want to do it in, what your goal is, so I can help with that. So just drop me a message or comment below and I can help. And I'm no expert, as in that I'm no athlete, I'm no pro Speedy Gonzales runner, but I've done enough runs. I pride myself on my medals behind, I'm such a geek. And like I say, this will be my 9th marathon, so learn from my mistakes. I'll tell you all the mistakes I've made. I still make mistakes, of course, we do, we're only human, but I've learned some big lessons, so I can obviously help and advise and guide you and get you on the right path and at least help you get a training plan in place, so that'll help. What else have I written down? If you are doing the marathon, you need to bear in mind in your plan, when I've sent a few plans out to people, they're like, I don't like the look of the last 3 weeks, like, why are you not really doing much? Like, that worries me. And that worried me when I first did my first marathon. I was like, whoa, how do you go from doing 45 mile a week to not a right lot? And it's all about tapering, it's all about looking after yourself, it's all about rest, recovery. You've done the work, you've got the miles in the legs, you've got it there. It's about the last 3 weeks. Technically, you should drop 3 weeks out to 75% of what your average mileage is in that week. 2 week out 50%, and then 1 week out around 25%. So the week before, normally people are like, I can't, and I'll pull my hands up and say, I struggle that week, I'm itching to get out. But that itch is a good itch, because it means that you are ready for the race, you are ready for the run, you're recovering well, because the last thing you want to do is be on the start line, aches, pains, a few niggles. You want to be fresh. So if you do have a plan and you don't like the look of the last 3 weeks, that's normal. I didn't like the look of it, but just know from experience that when you get that taper right, you 100% get it right on race day. What else have I written? So thinking about top tips for the day and the night before, while I'm obviously that far ahead, nothing different. That's what you've got to remember. So the kit you run in on the day needs to be kit that you have running and trained in. Do not have kit sat there, fresh new shiny kit, like it's a night out, ready to run in. It's like complete error. So if you're running for a charity and they send you a top, run in that top a couple of times, and it might sound silly, but get used to the top. Wash the top a couple of times, or however many times you've run in it. Get used to the kit, because I know that was it the first marathon I did? It was the first marathon I did. I got a vest, and I got it like 2 days before. I was running for a charity. I'd never trained in a vest. I'd only trained in t-shirts. I wore this vest on the day. It was boiling hot. I got sunburn on my shoulders, and I got really bad, like chafage burn marks under my arm where the vest was just too tight. And I probably spent 8 miles at the end, just in sheer agony from my arms burning. And that's the last thing you want. You'll see it all the time. Men do it with new t-shirts, and then you can see there's a bit of an issue with the nipples on marathon day, and it looks like a bloodbath. We see it on the telly, we see it everywhere. So no new kits. Do not put them nice new shiny trainers on the night before. You've got to have trained in your trainers, you've got to have the mileage in, you've got to know that nothing's going to hurt on the day, because enough is going to hurt external to kit. It's tough, a marathon, a half marathon. If you're training for a half, that's tough. Any run's tough, to be fair. I'm just thinking in marathon in general, because lots of you have asked me questions about marathon training, hence my live. Just don't change it. So I've just on Friday, bought a new pair of trainers. I run in Hoka, so I've got a pair of the new Hoka Bondi 7 they're called, but I've got the Clifton 8s that I'm picking up next week, and I'm going to flip between the two pairs depending on my training, and then make my decision come race day which pair I'm going to run in. But I'll probably have a good 200 miles in each trainer, so I'll know. They won't hurt. I'll have the socks on that I've been training in. I'll have the kit on that I've been training in. So nothing different. Before you do your long runs in training, you know, you will, the night before, make sure you're carb loading, you'll be fueling up right. Don't change that. Find what works for you. So when you are doing your long runs, pick the high carb meal the evening before, you know, the pasta, the rice, the bread. Don't fill up though. Don't like, I'll absolutely overload yourself and kill yourself. Think about the quality of the carbs that you're putting into your body. And again, if you need some advice, give me a shout because I can definitely help with that. You know, think about the quality that you're putting in the night before, because what happens is, especially with the night before, the whole carb loading process and a good breakfast in the morning, is the muscles are going to use up. When you're running, they need the energy from the carbs. They're going to take from the carbs first. So that's hence why we need the carbs. Now, they won't last the duration of a marathon with all the will in the world. So when it comes to the night before, you can only do your best, and a good breakfast in the morning, but it is still not enough for a marathon. A half probably, or more than likely actually. But a marathon, you're going to run out, average body between 18 and 20 miles, you're going to run out of the fuel from the carbs, and that's where the body turns to other sources and it starts to deplete and you start to just feel shocking again. I've done it. I've been there. I've been the person that hasn't fueled on a run, who has just tried to get by. So there are gels that you'll see runners take, and I will be the first to tell you that I have probably done, I've done 5 marathons with no gels, because I just don't like jelly. I don't like anything of that. I just don't like anything like that, and I was at that point where I'd rather not. I'd be all right, and I would just have jelly, but they're called sports beans. They're like jelly beans. They just did a little bit, but not enough. The difference when I started to take gels was insane. An insane difference just in my energy levels, just in the way I felt, you know, and I had this whole effect of like, I'm going to hit the wall at 22 miles, I'm going to hit the wall at 22 miles. And I was telling myself it, so at 22 miles before I got there, and it was like I tuned myself in that I was going to feel rough, and then I did feel rough, but probably didn't because I was just telling myself that. But what happens now is, in the last couple of marathons that I've done, there are gels, and I can't think of the name of them. Again, I've got some in the fridge. They're very much like water, so they're really not that bad. And I take them one gel every 6 miles. Some people take them a lot, you know, more often. Some people take a lot less than that. This is trial and error. This is something you've got to try in your running, because lots of gels can play a little bit of havoc with your stomach. So have a play about, and don't be put off by one brand. Try another brand, try another, try and find what works for you, because that taking on the gel sort of gives then, it saves some of the carbs, so the body then stops taking from your stored carbs and will use the energy from the gel, so it'll prolong it. Does that make sense? So make sure you've got the right fuel on board, and you know, make sure that you're carrying it. And I was listening to a couple of the lads that run, I was listening to their podcast, the Runners Podcast. Again, I can pop that on here because it's fab. They've got some really good tips and advice, and they are elite runners, awesome runners. They were saying like their first time using gels and stuff, they don't run with bags or the pouches or anything, and one of the lads, Gav, was saying he was pulling his gels up all the time and just got it wrong. So again, train with a belt or train with a vest like I do, something that you feel comfortable in, that you can take your gels out if you want to carry fluids, liquids, whatever it may be. Make sure you train in that. Don't just put the vest on the day and hope for the best. Train, get used to it. What other tips have I got? Hydration is key, so we need to make sure that you are staying hydrated at all times now. So not even just like the week before. Try and get into the habit of always having a glass of water in front of you, drinking, you know, as much water as possible. You know, if you can get 8 glasses of water down you a day, and most people don't drink that, that's a massive goal in itself. Stay hydrated, stay on top of it. I've been running tonight, only did 4.5 miles, a short run, but it was absolutely boiling still out there, and I just felt so dehydrated when I got back from my run. Yet I've drank water all day. So get on top of your hydration now. Make it just a common thing, so then as it comes into your deeper into your training, hydration is just going to be on top form. It's going to be one less thing to worry about, one less thing to focus on. You know, it'll just become second nature. You're always getting fluids into your body, and you're making sure that you're staying hydrated, so everything is going to work more efficiently on the day. Of course, all your nutrients are going to travel through the body better, so hydration is key. If you're looking at certain supplements and sports nutrition, of course I can only recommend what I use, and if you want to know what I use, let me know. You know, I drink a product called Argy, and I use different supplements, but some people do nothing. Some people are high on supplements, you know, they really focus on taking supplements. And remember, a supplement is to take something that you are missing. Or for instance, the Argy that I drank before, there's a purpose behind that, but I won't bore you with that because that won't be for everybody. But if you want to have some information on that, then give me a shout, because anybody that is doing any running, I can give you the advice that you need on that. And then on race day, I've already said nothing changes. So you're there, you've got your kit on that you've trained in, you've got your trainers that you've trained in, you've got your fuel, you've had a good evening meal, you've had a good breakfast, you're ready to go. Give yourself plenty of time on the morning. Don't be rushing. Get there early. And I'm not saying be there before they've even put like the starting line up and so, you know, coning out the street. Be there early, give yourself plenty of time so that you are not stressed, because there's nothing worse than getting to a big event and you can't park and you can't find the start and you have to park miles away, and then you've got to get on the tram and you're fussing and you think you're going to not get in your pen, and there's lots of different things. So be organised, plan it out, make sure you understand where you're going, where you need to be, what time you need to be there, and get there nice and early. And then when you're there, you can take it all in. You can sort of relax a little bit, but stay off your feet as best possible. I've learnt this mistake as well, where especially at London, it's a little bit difficult. So let me know what race you're doing. If you're doing 5k, 10k, half, full, whatever it may be. But I know for London, when I did London Marathon in 2017, there was quite a long walk to my start. I'm trying to think now. I feel like I can't remember, it was that long ago. There was quite a long walk, and I felt exhausted, and I don't know if anybody who's done London loads will know this. I had to walk up this big hill, and I remember like trudging up this hill thinking, God, I'm absolutely shattered, and I've not even started the race. Then you was in the field for about an hour, the sun was blaring, and loads of people were just sat down on the grass, and I remember thinking, why people just sat down? And I was on my feet, and I was a bit like moving about and a bit agitated, and I just think all that wasted energy on my feet, time on my legs that I didn't need to. I totally get now why people were sat down. So sit down, be where you need to be, and relax. Take the stress off your feet and just be ready, be prepared. Pace yourself. Again, I've made this mistake. I've gone off like a bullet out of a gun with people far too fast for me. I've got like 6 miles in on a marathon and be like, can't breathe, absolutely exhausted, and then spent the next 2 miles trying to slow it down and recover, and just felt shocking. Know your pace, trust your training, stick with your training. There are paces on runs as well. Not so much on a 5k, but 10k up. You know, there will be people who'll have big boards, and if you stand with them, it'll tell you what time they're going to come through at. So if you've got the goal of doing 10k in an hour and they've got the 1 hour board, stand with them and then run with them, and you know they're a pacer. That's their job. Know that they're there on the half, know that they're there on the full, but trust your training, trust your watch, you know, and stay on plan. Don't be pushed to go too quick, unless you get to a point where you are feeling good and you trust the training and you trust yourself, you know. And if I get to say 22 miles and I'm on track and I'm feeling good and I feel I've got some energy in the tank, then I will probably give it a little bit more, but I'll make the decision on the day. Because I've been in the opposite position where I'm at 20 miles and cried because I've thought, how am I going to get through the next 6 miles? I've gone too quick. So trust your pace, trust your timing, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the training. There's going to be good runs. There's going to be shockers of runs. You know, I've had a dodgy hip for 2 weeks and it's really set me back. And mindset wise, I've been a little bit like throwing things at the wall and not being happy. But then, you know, I rest for 4 days, which was really hard. And I don't mind telling you that. I was struggling. I was itching to get out, very much like taper week. rest made all the difference. Still not 100%, but I have regular sports massage, stretching, look after myself. So making sure, again, like you are stretching, maybe get into some yoga classes, use a foam roller, you know, really look after yourself. Don't just run and no recover. Look after yourself. I've lost on my time. Yeah, so there will be bad days. There'll be runs where I'll come back and I won't be happy, and then there'll be runs like I did a 10k about 3 weeks ago. I felt good. I went at a really good pace. I come back and I felt really good. 2 days later, I did a 10 miler. Didn't feel so good. You know, that's just normal. Good days, bad days, but you could just enjoy it. So be present on the day, enjoy it, and hopefully those tips have helped. So I'd love to know what races you are doing. For those of you that have messaged me, probably more so, like I say, 2 people messaged me today. In the last couple of weeks, people have messaged. So if there's anything I've not answered and you want to ask any questions, feel free to comment them below and I will answer them. Or feel free to pop me a private message. I know not everybody wants to ask questions on here. Let me know what runs you were doing, what events, what races, whatever it may be. I'd love to know what everybody is planning on doing, and we can share everything together. Let me know if that has helped. And as always, thank you very much for logging in, whether you are on live, loads of people were on live, or whether you are watching on catch up. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Happy Tuesday, and I will see you all next week.